Living Your Yoga with your host, Dr. Melissa West, is a free podcast in both video and audio. For more free podcasts and videos, visit livingyouryoga.ca.
Hello and welcome to Living Your Yoga. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa West, yoga educator, Phoenix Rising yoga therapist, Thai massage therapist, and host of the free weekly yoga video podcast, Namaste Yoga. I'm so happy you could join us today. Today I will be interviewing Balsam about working in partnership with nature. Balsam has immersed herself in many studies, including Tantric and Taoist meditation, holistic wellness, the use of flower essences and essential oils, and improvisational movement. Her debut CD, recorded with percussionist Alfredo Villela, is called Feel the Love, Get the Respect, From Nature for You with Music. This CD joins together Balsam's two greatest passions, singing and sharing strategies for collaborative, conscious, mutually beneficial partnership between humans and natural, physical, biological intelligence. Balsam is an experienced workshop facilitator, teacher, and consultant who has witnessed again and again with her clients that when human souls learn how to consciously seek out and receive the support and wisdom inherent in natural, physical, bodily intelligence, their creativity and power on the earth plane flourishes. The Feel the Love, Get the Respect CD, right here, gives every interested listener an opportunity to directly connect with the support, love, and respect held in their personal body intelligence and physical reality in general, well supported by music composed especially to enhance this connection process. You can find Balsam on her blog at www.praisebe.info, which is a blog where she writes on an ongoing basis about collaboration with natural, physical, and biological intelligence. And you can get her CD at www.loveandrespect.info. Her CD is called Feel the Love, Get the Respect, From Nature for You with Music by Balsam with Alfredo Villela. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Melissa, for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
I'm so glad you could join us. I spent this morning listening to your CD, and I have to say my entire body was vibrating.
I'm so delighted to hear that.
I was like, it was beyond even goosebumps. It was just this feeling of, energy.
Yes.
And I started to feel less like a physical, dense body, and more just like, more like light particles, if that makes any sense.
It makes total sense to me. You may not be aware of this, but your DNA literally pumps out one photon of light several billion times a second.
Wow.
Every cell in your body, and creates what's called a biophoton field around you. And so as the CD brought you into what I think of as a greater state of aliveness, you probably became less inhibited about creating that light and more aware of its formation within you and around you.
That makes total sense. I love how you just put words to my experience for me.
Oh, great! Great!
So fantastic.
And I have to tell you, Melissa, I am just completely thrilled that the CD brought you to a state of greater aliveness, because that's the entire intention behind it, for people to experience that.
Isn't that so great when your intention gets fulfilled?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
so fantastic. I love when my students say to me, when they actually feed back my intention to me, and they, and I think, wow, that's what I wanted for you, and you got there. How fantastic.
Yes. Yes. It's really, especially I think if you're a service-oriented person, as I gather that you are, and I am also, when you're a service-oriented person, having that experience is, for me anyway, one of the highest fulfillments that I can have in life.
Yeah, that's definitely so true. I totally agree with you. Well, I spoke a little bit at the beginning about your background in meditation studies,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about how you got to the place that you are now where you created this beautiful CD.
Well, my actual study of collaboration with nature intelligence began in 1991, and it's gone through many different permutations and various books, various teachers, various approaches, and what I'm thinking just in this moment, Melissa, is that it's way too long a personal story to get into here. Essentially, though, in 2008, inspiration came to me. And inspiration, it's somewhat mysterious. And I received the inspiration to make this CD, and here I am. I wanted to share with as many people as possible the beautiful potential and delight and love that's available to us when we start expanding our idea of relationship past the human realm.
Hmm. And is that what you refer to as nature's love?
Yes, it's a very interesting thing on our planet because most of us are seeking love and seeking respect from other human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's available to us, sometimes it's not. There's a very interesting difference between human souls and physical or natural or biological intelligence. And that difference is, it's sometimes called free will. I'm currently struggling a bit with the language around that because certainly nature has intentionality. However, nature never uses its intentionality to usurp or sabotage or resist divine flow, divine will, divine harmony, divine balance. And humans are quite capable of using our intentionality to resist the divine in many, many different ways, or pervert it or twist it or sabotage or whatever it is. And as a result, we create a lot of suffering for ourselves on this planet because nature really has no choice. The physical world really has no choice but to reflect back to us our soul choices. And that is not true of other human beings. They can make their own choices that have nothing to do with our choices. But as far as nature is concerned, the physical world, it shows us, first of all, divine choice, and then within that reflects back to us our human soul choices. So in that way, nature has unending love and respect for us. Because if we want to reflect, the horror of war, for instance, nature cooperates. If we want to reflect the beauty of harmony and people creating together, nature will cooperate with that. It's our choice. And sorry for the pause. I'm just putting my thoughts together here. So if we choose to consciously receive nature's love, which is always there, always being reflected back to us, in this endless service that nature does for us, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about it. There's never any instability in it. There's never anything in it that has to do with those human soul choices that can resist the divine, or undermine the action of divine harmony and will on this planet. So being in touch with that seemed to me to be incredibly stabilizing and empowering, and I wanted people to have that experience, and that's why I made this CD.
That makes a lot of sense. And I love, you have this beautiful prayer in the beginning of your CD in the liner notes. And I'd love for you to share it with us as a way of helping to open and center us for this interview.
Oh, thank you. I will get my liner notes. So I don't have it memorized at the moment. And this prayer is all about our connection to the earth. Now, I want to make it clear that earth is not synonymous with what I mean when I say nature intelligence. The earth is a part of nature intelligence, but also the sun, the stars, all the creatures and plants on the earth, our own human bodies, and probably physical universes we don't even know about, are all part of that vast aspect. You could call it, physicalized God. And for most of us, the earth is our point of reference for nature intelligence, right. And it is the primary source of our bodily life. So that's why I chose to include a prayer that involves the earth on this CD liner note, because it's accessible. The earth is right here with us, and she has her own story and her own life and her own intelligence, and we partake of that in a very direct way here on the planet. So this prayer reads, Earth, in love, in respect, I allow you to hold me in powerful communion and to nourish me so that I can move into delight. And it just struck me, Melissa, there's a beautiful pun there. DE hyphen light. So that I can move into delight.
You're going to switch genres and break into a rap now.
Melissa, I love watching rap on YouTube.
Do you?
I do. I love hip hop and rap, and I also live near New York City, so I have the great pleasure of seeing people doing this live on the street.
Oh, cool.
And first of all, I would never dare, because the skill involved is just unbelievably high. And the other thing I'll say about a lot of these hip-hop artists is I feel that their ability to be with their body intelligence is through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have blogs of hip-hop, videos of hip-hop artists at my blog, because to me, they are such shining, living embodiments of or demonstrations of what it means to be embodied.
I love that. And one of the things that I like to ask everybody who comes on this show, because this show is about living your yoga, and so for us yogis, for myself as a yoga teacher, yoga is not limited to my experience on a yoga mat doing meditation or asana. And to me, it's so important for us to integrate our practices in our day-to-day life. And I feel like you've already answered this question, but perhaps you can answer it a little more directly.
Sure.
So what does it mean for you to live your yoga?
For me, to live my yoga means on a daily basis to bring my body and my soul into more functional and graceful and complete communion.
So that connection between body, mind, and spirit.
Yes. Within the paradigm of collaboration with nature, the mind is considered part of the body because it is part of the physical vehicle. So our energy, our mind, our ego, our personality, and the skin-bounded physical structures are all considered to be part of the body. The soul is considered to be non-physical and therefore not really articulable in words, because words are physical and have to do with form. So it's as though my soul is revealed moment by moment in the totality of functioning of my physical form. And my physical form is reflecting back to me what my soul choices are, what my soul desires are, what my soul's evolutionary path is. Here on this plane, I feel that, well, I'm not going to rule out other possibilities, but for me so far, everything that I've learned about my soul, I've learned through my body's reflection and mirroring of it. And, you know, you'll notice often people will talk about when they are having a spiritual experience that they start talking about being out of body or leaving their body. And what I would like to put forward in the context of this conversation is that from my perspective, usually what's happening is that they are actually tapping into their body in its expanded form.
Yeah. See, now you're putting such great words to my experience that I had when I was sitting and listening with your CD, because it was difficult to put words to it. There was this sense of expansion and the sense of moving beyond my body that you described as soul.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I would describe that as your body is reflecting, or let's put this another way, your body is, your awareness of your body is becoming much more expanded because your body is actually much larger and has infinite potential in it that culturally we're normally cut off from knowing. And that's, for me, not a going beyond the body, but a going into the body. And the further into it you go, the more you become aware of the massiveness of your soul.
Your words are like music to my yoga teacher ears.
I'll be asking why that is.
Well, I think when I study the spiritual texts of yoga, there's so much emphasis on the mind, as if we there's kind of a history of transcending our body, moving beyond our body, and even of moving beyond our minds. And I realize this trend is sort of passing now, and we seem to be in we're going into an era now where we realize that we are living in these human bodies, and that we are having a physical experience, and that is part of our spiritual experience as well. And so I just love hearing when we speak about the way you speak. It speaks to the totality of our being, and that's why it sounds like music to my ears. It includes our bodies. It doesn't disembody us. It doesn't take our heads off and
Right.
stick them somewhere else. So that's why it's music to my ears.
This potentially could be a languaging issue. I'm not sure. There are people, for instance, on the planet who can do quite unusual things. So, for instance, they can walk through fire or lie down into fire. I saw a video of a yogi in India, actually, who does that. Or people who can swallow poison and not be harmed by it. Some of the tantric rituals might even include, putting needles through your body and not bleeding, or whatever else people do. And I'm not personally a proponent of those activities.
No live demos?
No, not for me. One of the reasons I'm not a proponent is because I have a lot of respect for my body, and so demonstrating that I can damage it and or do things that are potentially damaging is not really appealing to me as a demonstration of power. I think there are many ways to demonstrate power. That's one way, and I'm not trying to criticize the people who do that, because I think that there's something to be learned there. It's not my path, however. So the point that I'm getting to, though, is when people do those things, what they're tapping into, from my perspective, is the expanded potential of the body. Or here's a better one. Apparently, some of the yogis can fly. They just take off into the air. And, I don't know for sure whether these stories can be believed or not, but I've heard enough of them at this point that I'm open to the possibility that such things exist. And these people are basically tapping into an expanded range of the body's potential. Because our body really is limited only by our imaginations.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And so I would love for you to speak a little bit about our connection with nature, because I'm not entirely sure, but I somehow think that you don't see our physical bodies as separate from nature.
That's correct.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about how to tap into that unending supply that we're already a part of.
Yes. Well, the first place that I'd like to start is just by inviting your imagination. What is your body? Your body is a particular coherent, coalesced collection of conscious, alive, intelligent material that is connected to the entire universe. So this was the first thing that really helped me make sense of this for myself. Because our feet come off the ground, we tend to think that our physicality is something separate. And when you just had your drink of water, you're basically taking into your body a substance that some scientific research now indicates comes from outer space. That water falls onto the earth from outer space. And so there you are, your body has literally just become one
Right.
with a substance that has traveled, we don't know how many light years to get into that cup.
Mm-hmm.
And the minerals that are in your body have been through many geologic cycles on the earth. The air that you're breathing has molecules in it that I breathed, and molecules that every person in history has breathed.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember one day lying in yoga. Yeah, I remember one day lying in yoga in a breath awareness exercise, just totally getting freaked out about that and having to kind of back away from that awareness.
Well, it's important. Nature is shaped by our intentions.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you breathe in an air molecule that has experienced the intentionality of another person, you are literally receiving that transmission into your lungs and your blood.
Mm-hmm.
That air molecule has been shaped by other people's intentions.
Hmm.
And so it's just coming to me in the moment that every single lungful of air that we take, we can reshape it and send it out.
This sounds like the practice of Tonglen. Do you practice Tonglen?
No.
Oh, there's this beautiful practice called Tonglen where you actually breathe in other people's suffering. So whatever flavor of suffering you're going through at the moment, you imagine breathing it in as dark smoke, and you bring it into your lungs and your heart, and then you breathe it out in a transformed way as light back to all the other people that are suffering in the same way.
Wow.
It's very powerful.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, may I make some comments to that from a collaboration with nature perspective?
I would love that. I would love that.
Well, my comment would be that before doing such a practice, I would ask nature intelligence whether my body was ready for it.
Yeah.
And I might also do it a little bit differently, because what I might ask is for nature intelligence to fine-tune my awareness so it becomes very acute and I actually feel or sense or see the suffering that is actually present in that air.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like that has actually been imprinted onto it by other people.
Mm-hmm.
With no particular need to see it according to a certain formulation.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think that would be really powerful. I've never tried it. I'm just coming up with this creative inspiration right at this moment.
Well, I think it's something actually you speak to time and time again on your CD, which is, and I think I'm probably not going to use your words exactly, but this idea of letting go of expectation of what's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the absolute key parts of collaboration with nature. And I would just like to speak in a general way towards meditation practices. I respect meditation practices. I have done many over the years from many traditions. And I have the overall perspective that many of them are based on a particular moment of inspiration from nature.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that is repeated as a tradition over and over and over again. Now, traditions carry strength, they carry power, and there's something to be said for that, and I'm certainly not ever going to give up regular types of meditation practices. At the same time, every person is unique and their relationship with nature is unique. And so a meditative practice involving, shapes, visualizations, colors, energy flow patterns, whatever it might be, may not be appropriate for a given person in a given situation.
Mm-hmm.
And being directly connected with nature intelligence allows you to start assessing that for yourself and perhaps adjusting your practice
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that it is exactly what's right for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally do like giving nature enormous leeway. The way I see it, one of the ways I describe it is that our souls are tourists because they're non-physical and they're here on a physical plane.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas nature intelligence, embodied intelligence, on the physical plane could be thought of as the tour guide.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I want to get from point A to point B, I ask my tour guide how to get there.
Mm-hmm. I love that metaphor, and I want to take a little bit of a turn here to another metaphor that you spoke of on the CD that I just loved. I think we both share a passion for balancing the masculine and the feminine aspects of ourselves and nature in general. And you speak about the metaphor of humanity with wings of masculine and feminine, and about that being in an imbalance right now. Would you mind expanding on that?
Not at all. To me, that's a really important topic. The metaphor you're referring to is on the first track of the CD, where I talk about the humanity. I use the analogy of humanity being like a bird, and the one wing is the masculine and the other wing is the feminine, and that the feminine wing has a wound in it. And because of that injury, the masculine wing works too hard, is overactive, and the bird as a whole can't fly in the way it's meant to fly. And I see that metaphor in action around me every day. I see it in the polluted air and water, in the polluted soil. I see it in the constant ongoing aggression and war on the planet. I see it in the economic injustice in our societies. If we look at the world as a whole, the poverty and the deprivation of huge numbers of people, I mean, it's the majority that are living in incredible impoverishment and deprivation. You and I are amazingly privileged to be able to sit here and speak with one another in such comfortable surroundings. And in all of these instances, it feels to me as though injury has been done, injustice has been done. There's been a lack of listening, receptivity to solutions that would include and benefit the whole. And unbalanced masculine energy is what I associate with injury, aggression, and lack of inclusion of the whole. The spear comes to mind as a metaphor, or the bomb, or a banking system that leads to economic injustice. Whatever it may be, there's many different ways of spinning out the same story, so to speak. And I felt it was important to address that on the CD, and for the reason that cultivating receptivity to nature is a very feminine way of being.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so I'm inviting people through the CD to really begin strengthening their feminine side.
Mm-hmm. I think that's absolutely what appeals to me so much about this CD. And my own practices in general these days, if it doesn't have a really strong aspect dealing with the feminine side, I'm not that interested. I'm just thinking about the teachers that I choose to study with and the practices I choose to take on, and there's such nurturing available in that feminine spirit.
It's really our ground on this planet, I believe. I believe the earth herself is feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's our grounding.
Yeah.
That is the place from which newness arises. In the Taoist traditions, they say that yang arises out of yin. If you deplete your yin, which is the feminine, you end up with no yin and no yang, which is the masculine.
Mm-hmm.
So you need
need
yin
both.
is the foundation,
Mm-hmm.
actually.
Yeah. And I think in the yogi traditions, we talk about it's the Shakti, the divine feminine, that is the electric spark that gives life to the masculine.
Yes.
Yeah. So without it, there's no animation of the masculine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the same idea.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about the tracks on the CD. You have one on breathing, thinking, eating, moving, seeing, sexual, and dreaming. And I'm curious how you chose these aspects of life. And I'd love for you to tell us a bit about each one in relationship to nature.
Well, the way that I chose them is a bit of a story, and I think it's a story worth telling in light of what we're discussing. Initially, when I imagined this CD, I was going to take people through nature's love and respect for various body parts. So let's feel nature's love and respect for your feet. Let's feel nature's love and respect for your nose, so on and so forth. I don't know if the nose was on there or not, but and at a certain point, I realized, wait a minute, there's this sense of atomization going on here. This overly masculine, and I want to reiterate, I have nothing against the masculine. We need both.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking about an imbalance in those energies rather than the energies themselves being problematic. It's the way that we use them and unbalance them. But this cutting up of the body into, let nature feel love and respect for your feet and then your knees. I thought, something's wrong. It was modeled on a lot of things I had been taught and I had experienced. And then I realized, wait a minute, this is just going down the same road that we've been going down. So I tuned into nature intelligence and received the inspiration that the CD could offer nature's love and respect for actual life processes. And so when you're talking about a breathing process or an eating process or whatever, you're talking, first of all, about a process that involves the whole body. You can't breathe without your entire body being impacted by it and your entire body being involved in the breathing in some way. Even just the oxygen going through your capillaries, it goes to every part of your body, and that's because you breathe. There's a connection. So that brought me to the next insight, which was that if I requested nature's love and respect for my breathing process, I might not even feel the impact in my lungs at first. Nature's nature is the expert on how the body and how form works. And nature might say, well, we need to shift things in your liver. Because that's where your breathing process is not functioning properly. And this way, the CD can meet, because it invites the person to open themselves to nature intelligence in that very, very both general and particular kind of way. Basically, the affirmations, the dialogues with nature can meet every person exactly where they are. Because I'm not telling you to expand your lungs so that you have better breathing.
Right.
What I'm telling you to do, or inviting you to do, is to bring in nature's love and respect for your breathing process. Yours is unique. The places that will be touched the deepest are unique to you. And so that's why I have confidence that this CD would be helpful to many people, as opposed to something that structures things in a more hardline kind of way.
Yeah. Well, I love how it just opens things up so much more beyond our limited understanding of what breathing is and of what, quote, good breathing is.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's really brilliant. And I think this spirit comes through again and again on your CD. This idea of opening ourselves up to an intelligence higher than our own. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the expert on physicality.
Yeah. So I would like to, I'm just looking at our time here, and I could talk to you all day long.
Oh!
But I want to make sure that we're wrapping up in a timely way that leaves our listeners interested in receiving more and finding out more too. So I would like you to just speak a little bit about how you envision the CD being used by its listeners. What do you hope it will bring into their lives?
Well, I love that you asked that question, and when I thought about the answer, I thought, oh, it's so obvious. I put it right on the title. I want them to use the CD to receive love and respect that is stable, that is constantly available, that is of a quality because it comes from nature intelligence, and nature intelligence does not resist divine love and harmony. So as people receive this love and respect, they will be empowered in ways that might be quite new and delightful to them. And the reason I made that comment about the title was just because, you know, I took a degree in English literature. I have training, you know, to speak at length about everything, you know, to kind of spin things out. And when I saw that question, I said, back to basics.
Yeah.
Remind yourself of the title that you put on the CD.
Yeah, exactly.
Simplify. So that's what I really hope people will get, a depth of love and respect that allows them to begin functioning at whole new levels of pleasure and efficiency.
And I can really speak to the depth of what you're offering, just from my own personal experience. And I'm totally thrilled too that we're going to be using some of the tracks without your voiceover meditation on them for the background for my free weekly yoga video podcast, Namaste Yoga. So all our Namaste Yoga viewers will get an opportunity to experience this in coordination with the yoga practices that I offer too, which is really cool.
Wow, I'm very complimented and honored, Melissa.
Yeah, I was so excited when you approached me about that possibility because yeah, having music with such depth and meaning and energy to it is just gonna be fantastic.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, where can people get a copy of this CD? Oops, I put it upside down. There we go.
I was kind of like enjoying it though.
Yeah,
I was
it
like, hey,
looks like
that's another way
a
of looking
cave.
at
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
the feminine cave there. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And there's the hands.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, they can get a copy at www.loveandrespect.info.
Mhm.
And I blog about the ideas on the CD at www.praisebe.info, and that's praisebe.info. So the actual name of the blog is Praise to Incarnation.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Balsam. I really appreciate you being with us for this interview. And I encourage all our viewers to visit your website as well as my website, www.melissawest.com. And when you go there, you can sign up for my newsletter to receive a free morning and yoga sequence, a free morning and evening yoga sequence. And also be sure to join our Facebook community at www.facebook.com/livingyouryoga. Remember to check out namasteyoga.tv for my free weekly yoga video podcast. Currently, we're doing a series of classes on the emotions, and we do try as much as possible to film outside and connect with nature. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa West. Thank you so much for watching Living Your Yoga, and thank you to Balsam for joining us. May the rising sun bless your heart with joy, and may the setting sun bless your mind with peace. Namaste.
Namaste.
You've been enjoying Living Your Yoga with your host, Dr. Melissa West. For more information and or to contact Melissa, visit www.livingyouryoga.ca. Namaste.